My name is Gavin Evans, and this is my review of Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1. And if you know me, you know I was very excited for this movie. Fallout is one of my favorite movies of all time, period. I think it is the best action movie ever made. It's just perfect in every way. I love this franchise. I love Tom Cruise. So I thought I was going to love this movie. And unfortunately, it bums me to say, but it bums me out to say, but I was very disappointed with it. But let's begin with the cast, and Tom Cruise, the man himself, does a great job. He is the perfect leading man for this kind of movie. He's just got so much charm and charisma, and he shows off a bit more of his comedic chops with this movie. And the fact he actually does his own stunts, it's just really respectable. He fully commits to his craft, and you can feel the passion every second he's on screen. So, he's a bright spot of this movie. Hayley Atwell, I think, does a good job. I'll get to her character later, but she does good. Ving Rhames does a perfectly fine job. Simon Pegg, I like, as I always do. I would have liked a bit more of him in Lusso, to be honest. Rebecca Ferguson, I think, does a good job. I'll get to her character later. Vanessa Kirby, I thought did fine. Esau Morales, I thought was very bland as a villain. He just always felt generic to me. You've got Pom Klementieff, who is very forgettable in this movie. Henry Seesme, I thought was good in the short time he's in it. You've got Shea Whigham and Greg Tarzan Davis, and they're fine, I guess. So that was a lot of names I just listed, and there is far too many characters in this movie. And there's also far too much going on. It's a very bloated movie, and you could easily cut out some elements and the movie would be all the better for it. Like Shea Whigham's and Greg Tarzan Davis's characters as these two cops, they don't need to be there. They add nothing to the experience. So just chop them out. Pom Klementieff character, Paris, I think is her name, completely unneeded. Didn't need her. And then another character I think you could have gotten rid of, and here's my hot take, it's Grace. The second main character in this movie was so unnecessary, and here's why. Because this character is just a retread of Elsa. There's nothing fresh about this character. It's just filled with character beats that we've seen better already, and it's just like, why would you start over from scratch with this new character? Why not have Elsa, Rebecca Ferguson, be the second lead in this movie? It would just make sense. And I found the directions and the plot beats that they went with were really frustrating. There is one point where Tom Cruise has to make a choice, and this scene actually pissed me off. I won't get into it though, because that's going to spoil territory, but I feel like the character of Grace it was an unnecessary inclusion, and I really wish they gave Elsa more to do here. At 2 hours and 40 minutes long, this movie, like I said, is very bloated, and there's just no justification for this length. There's just not much story on display. So much of this movie is non-stop exposition. It's just people explaining stuff over and over again, and not even in a compelling way. You watch a movie like Inception, and the entire first half is exposition, but it's really entertaining and it's really compelling. not the case with this movie. I was actually bored for like the entire second act. And this isn't giving anything away, but AI is definitely an element of the plot. And all of this stuff I thought was severely mishandled. It was overly convoluted and just a total mess. Like, looking at the actual story of this movie, it's just all over the place and it needed to be more streamlined. It's a very messy movie and I was just so unengaged. And look, I don't need every movie to be filled with action, but the action is why I go to Mission Impossible movies. It is what allows it to stand out. And there's simply not enough action for this movie. And I was just very unsatisfied with it as a Mission Impossible movie. And it's a part one, so maybe they're saving all the action for part two, but also this is its own movie. And I just felt it was very underwhelming. Like, when this movie ended, I was just like, why are you ending it off here? Between all the part ones of this year, Fast X, Spider-Verse, and Mission Impossible, Spider-Verse got it right. You set everything up for this sequel. But you also lean into the cliffhanger aspect as much as possible, and you just get a 10 out of 10 ending there. Fantastic. It gives me chills every time I've seen it. And here, the movie just kind of ends. It could have ended 20 minutes before it does, could end 10 minutes afterwards. Doesn't matter. It just ends because the movie says so. And it's just, it doesn't work for me. And some of the edits I found to be very confusing. Like, the first 15 minutes of this movie is a mess. They do something very early on, and I'm like, did they just do that off screen? And I was pissed off. And then we go back to it, but it's like, why would you not just stay in that location? And there's a scene where Tom Cruise is running on top of a building, and I'm like, okay, this is great. And then the scene just ends, and I'm like, what? And I also wish, like, the way information was revealed was a bit better. Like, how do I say this? There's something that they're looking for, and we see where it is at the very beginning of the movie, and then it just isn't there. And I don't know, it's tough to talk about without getting into spoilers. So, the story's a mess. I think the movie's way too bloated, it's too long, they mishandle so many characters, but I don't hate it. I'm still positive on this movie overall. Now, like I said, Tom Cruise does a great job starring in it. I do like the music by Lonnie Bath, but I wish it was more original and just didn't replay the same beats from the last movie. And it did make me laugh. There was one line to Lusso, like early on, that just cracked me up. But this movie has great moments. Together, it's a mess, but individually, there are some moments I loved. There was a scene out in the desert, and you just feel the environment so incredibly well, and it's got great action. There's a scene at an airport, which is just thrilling and kept me on edge. Kind of reminded me of Batman and the Riddler, to be honest. There was a car chase in Rome, which honestly, it was too long, but it does have some highlights. It does have its funny moments. There was another chase scene, which had some nice surprises that keeps you on edge. And lots of stuff with the train is really great. I love how they actually show the lights above the train, that if they hit you, you would probably die, unlike a recent blockbuster called Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. But you really feel the tension, it's really well shot. But there's a section of the ending of this movie with the different train cars, and this, as someone who loves Uncharted 2, this was like a dream come true for me to see a scene like this brought to life in such a pitch perfect manner. And of course, you do got the big stunt scene that we've seen so many times by this point. And it's a really fantastic scene. Like, you could hear everybody just go silent and holding their breath. It was really great and really tense. I just wish I didn't see it 20 times before the movie came out. So, yeah, like, the movie still delivers on the action, and there were so many great individual moments. But like I said, together as a movie, I was left disappointed. I thought the story was just a mess. I thought the handling of Elsa was completely frustrating. I didn't really care for Grace as a new character. It's too long. It still got great moments. And great moments is what I look for in a movie. Like, I'm going to remember some moments from this movie forever. So I can't give a movie a negative review when I love some stuff in it that much. And some of the final 10, 15 minutes of this movie, I truly love with every fiber of my being. And there's so many other great moments. I just wish the movie was better. So I'll give Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1 a 6 out of 10. I would put this movie on the same level as Guardians of the Galaxy 3 for me. Like, everybody else seems to love these two movies, and I still like them, but man, do I got lots of issues with both of them. But what were your thoughts on Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1? Let me know in the comments down below. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, stay tuned for more videos soon, and Gavin,